Welcome to the Creepin' It Real Show, your one-stop shop for weird news, spooky, and otherworldly and paranormal shenanigans. We'll take a dive into what's going on in creepy pop culture. You can follow Creepin' It Real Show on Twitter at creepin_it. You can email us at creepinitrealshow@gmail.com. You can also go to our website, creepinitrealshow.com. Without further ado, welcome to this week's episode.
Hello and welcome to the Creepin' It Real Show. I am Moni, still from the great state of Cali over here. But we're going to talk about some fun things that are either available to watch now or upcoming. But first, I want to bring in my co-host. Hey, Yardley, how's it going today?
Hey, everything's going good. A little bit nippy, but outside of that, excited to talk about these upcoming movies.
Nice. And Christy, how are you doing?
Hello. I can't complain. Yardley is correct. It's cold, it's rainy, it's yucky, but I guess I won't complain because we're accustomed to the rain and your state apparently is absolutely not accustomed to the rain. And so y'all are going through some things right now, so I'm not going to complain about our crazy ass green cold jungle over here. So
we are so extra. We had a little bit of rain off and on this week, and my kids were like, but we can't go ride our bikes. They've just decided that riding bikes daily is their thing, like last week. And so, of course, it rained this week, and they're like, but we can't ride our bikes. I'm like, I think you'll live. Like, it's all going to be okay. They're like, look, there's a pond. I'm like, it's a puddle. Like,
when I saw on Twitter, somebody was like, oh my God, it's rained 3 inches here in the past 3 days or something. And I was like, okay. But then I was like, and then the next tweet was, and there's mudslides. And I was like, damn, you guys can't just have like a weather pattern that doesn't just try to completely destroy you.
Well, we do all this rich people like build our mansions on the hillsides, you know, so that you have not, I certainly don't, but the state is a lot of like OG, you know, old Hollywood and San Diego houses up on ridges. And so the minute that any water hits that, it's like, oh God, we're going to, and you know, earthquakes don't help either. So they're like, erosion, we're going to slide off the hill.
Or
so,
you're going to get forest fires or you're going to
yes. We had wind the previous week. And even though it wasn't too hot, it was like in the 70s, the wind was causing us to have fires still. So, you know, and I can tell, and I don't mean to get on a high horse about this, but I can tell that climate change is a thing and a rapid thing because I've lived here my whole life and we used to have fire season and that was like July, August, you just, you know, you be wary of it. Now we just have like, if there's wind and a little bit of heat, there's going to be fires. Like that's how it goes.
Yeah.
So
I have a
interesting
friend. I have a friend that's a smoke jumper for the government. Basically, it's team like, you know, parachutes into fires, forest fires.
Yeah.
And he used to have it where he had, like you said, there was fire season, but then they had a forest fire season, which is basically like creating fires to prevent fires. And it's a whole thing. And so when he wasn't doing, you know, fighting real fires, they were making fires to prevent fires. So he hasn't even been able to do the forest fires. He's basically just been fighting fires for 2 years now straight. Like he has no time to then do the normal maintenance that they have to do. So that if that tells you anything, that right here is, and he's been doing this for 15 years.
Wow.
So definitely seeing, and he lives in Idaho, but of course flies to California to do the, you know, when the big fires hit or to do the maintenance. So you guys don't get, as you know, when the fires do hit, if you rake up all the like and cut down all the extra brush and all the old, dead trees and all of that, it keeps the fires from spreading so rapidly. So they do that stuff in between. He hasn't been able to do any of that. So very sad, guys. I mean, let's take care of the planet. This isn't political. This is just having good common sense
and common sense. Clean your house and take care of your house planet, host planet.
Exactly. So anyway, well, I'm glad that you're safe, and I'm wishing everybody in California a speedy recovery. It's always something. Like, if you guys can just get your shit together on this one before the next disaster hits, that'd be great. Because Lord knows when the next big fire or earthquake's coming. So you guys,
right.
And really quick, Moni did bring this up to me yesterday, I think, but Stephanie, our very good friend of the show, is possibly sick with COVID. So we
definitely under the weather and, going to be in quarantine for a little bit. One thing I told her, though, is that to give her a little hope is because she's like, I don't have anything to do. I'm bored. Is this show. About half of the movies on this show are available to watch now. So we'll give some recommendations for something to do. So any of the rest of y'all, too, who are in quarantine, this should be a good show to pay attention to. I actually use this. I watch movies in real time with my friends sometimes. And I was like, hey, I have this list of movies. Want to watch something that's available? So we did end up watching something from this list. But back to Stephanie. Yes, we wish her a speedy recovery. And we're thinking of you, girl.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, without further ado, the show is written off of a best upcoming horror movies trailer from FilmSpot Trailer, which has 4 million subscribers. You can find it on YouTube. So this particular video of full of trailers it's 41 minutes long, and it's got all kinds of cool trailers to watch. It's a little interesting because 2020 being such a weird year, some of these movies were supposed to already have come out and got pushed back. All of these movies were supposed to go to the theater at some point, and a lot of them didn't. So when it says upcoming, half of them are available to watch now, and I didn't even know. So that was kind of fun to find some new stuff to watch. And some of them are still coming up. Some of them you will have heard of, some of the big trailers from last year. Some of them you won't. So without further ado, Halloween Kills was the first one that this trailer clip started off with. Are we excited about Halloween Kills? It comes out October 15th, 2021. I don't think it was pushed back because we had the other Halloween. I don't even remember what that one was called last year. And it looks like it's picking up right where that one left off. Are we excited about Halloween Kills?
Are we, Christy?
I was going to let y'all answer first because y'all look, I don't like these movies. I don't like Halloween movies. I just don't. I liked the one that we went to the movies and saw before the country, all hell broke loose.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the one from last year. I don't understand the draw to these movies. I just don't. I don't like the originals that much. I don't like slasher movies. Why isn't he dead? That's all I gotta ask. Is he's either a cryptid or he can't be a person and still be alive, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
But then look at Jamie Lee Curtis, which I fucking adore her. So if she's continuing these movies, then I hope they go on forever because there's clearly an audience for them. It's just not me. I wish her all the best though, and I'm so glad that she has this niche for herself, but that's all I'm going to say about it.
Yeah.
Good for them.
I pretty much co-sign everything that she said. I saw the last one in the movies, and we talked about it on the show. Mm-hmm. I didn't think that it was all that. And one of the things I think that we doubled and tripled down about that, the last one was, even though we knew that they were going to find a way to bring him back, but the way, that was one of those, it's totally impossible for them to bring him back. But I know that they're going to do it. And since I know that they're going to do it out of spite, I'm not going to go see the next one because there's no way. It was kind of, but I also think that, I just kind of think Mike Myers is just kind of tired.
Yeah.
Play it out.
I think he's literally tired. He's like geriatric now. He's like limping after you.
They actually made that point in the movie that, he was
he's got to be a cryptid by now. Like what else could he be if he's still alive and still able to fight and do the shit he's doing?
Hey, Moni, weren't they kind of implying at the end of the last one and that what is it? Laurie Strode? Is that the name of the
Laurie Strode?
Her, weren't they hinting when they were in the back of a truck or something that maybe she's gonna become a killer or something like that? I
I don't know. Her character's pretty, I mean, been through a lot, obviously, in this series. For whatever hits Mike Myers has taken, Laurie has been through all of that as well. So it could be within the realm of believability that she snaps.
Yeah, it was something. Gosh, and I want to say maybe this on YouTube because I don't want to actually go back and watch the movie.
Sure.
But I'll try to find that end clip. But also, when you got movies like this where trauma and all these crazy things happen, and now it's getting passed on to the next generation.
Yeah.
Just like, come on, they have their own.
Got to keep that dead horse going.
So wait, when I say I didn't see the last one, I was thinking because you said last year. Because
what year was it? Was it in the beginning of 2020 or was it 2019?
It was 2019.
Okay.
Think. That's why I was confused. I was like, wait, did they put out another one last year?
Oh, no. Okay.
No.
So
time has no meaning for me, as we've said before.
Understand. I liked this last one. I liked it because I thought it was cool that she came back and was in the movie, and that it was so far in between the others, if that makes any sense. It was like, okay, I can dig this because she's now old, she's got a family, he's back. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, okay, I can dig, and I did. I liked it, but now I'm done. I don't want to watch anymore. So, but everybody who does, and everybody who loves Halloween and loves the whole, story and Michael, and get down on it, because I love Jamie Lee Curtis and I don't want to see her, I don't want to see her go out like badly. I want her to keep succeeding because I love her. So, but again,
I'm kind of the resident fan of the franchise, I think, between the three of us. And when I say franchise, I think 3 and On, the witch, whatever thing it went off on. I have not seen those. I've heard if you take those, though, on their own, like don't expect it to have continuity with the first couple films, that they're pretty good, but I have not seen those. So full disclaimer, but I am a fan of the original 2 films. I always thought that the proximity, I've talked about this before. I don't know how else to describe it, but when you're so close to being safe, you're in your own neighborhood, your neighbors are out trick-or-treating, you should be safe. That's one of the things I love about the movie Trick or Treat too, is that woman is like, like the victims are all letting people knock on their door and give them candy, and then one of them happens to be the wrong kid and kills him, like, with everybody walking around. And it's the same thing with the first Halloween film. Like, one of the victims makes it to the car and starts honking, and you would think that someone would hear her, and she ends up getting butchered in the car. Like, there's some really cool elements. I also always like cool kills. I'm not a huge fan of like the Friday the 13th franchise, for instance, but I love like cool headshot kills that we've talked about before, innovative ways to and they have, in the latest one, the 2019 one, they do some cool stuff with like those bloggers. And this is a minor spoiler because it was pretty much in the previews, but they have those annoying like podcasters that are trying to get the story, and they end up butchering them in the bathroom. Like, there's some fun left to be had if you just take it for that. I don't put too much thought in it, but I like Jamie Lee Curtis well enough, and I also like old gals getting it, because if you can have Liam Neeson, and even like I love him to death, but Keanu Reeves is not a spring chicken. We got to have some like older female as the badass character role,
This is why, and it reminds.
That's true, but let the older female characters actually kill the people that are after them. Because Keanu, all of those other people, I mean, they go after people and they get them, but like with her, it's just like a never-ending cycle
perpetual.
of like I'm like, no, just let her beat his head in. You know what I mean?
And in that, it reminds me of the Terminator series where they brought back, is it Linda Hamilton?
Yeah.
And she was older and just fucking badass. Like, I was like, I want to look like her. When this was when I was younger, and she's older. I think she was a little older than I am now. And she looked amazing. And she was kicking ass and taking names and was like the star of the show and running things. And I think still is. I think there's that new one that just came out. I haven't watched it, but oh no, it was not her, or was she in it? I can't remember. Anyway, but yeah, so she was older, kicking ass, taking names, and accomplished things instead of poor Jamie Lee over here, like thinking she's accomplished shit, but no,
even double tapped this time, and we're still, we're
still here. So I agree with you, Yardley. Like, find a new, then you have like maybe a copycat killer or something instead of the same dude. Like, it just starts to get like, come on, he's got to be dead by now, you know?
Yeah, I gotcha. Suspend the disbelief and watch the cool kills is my take on it. So, moving on, A Quiet Place 2 was supposed to drop last year. I think by now, even all of our listeners have seen the previews. Are you guys, first of all, were you excited about it in the first place? And then second, are you still excited this many months after we were supposed to get it?
Well, I thought the first one was solid. When we did a review on the show, I remember at the end when we were talking about what happened to, the Abbotts, Miss Abbott. Isn't that's Krasinski's wife in
real life? Yeah.
Emily Blunt. Yeah.
When we were talking about what happened to them at the end, we were like, because I know she shoots the monster. Spoiler, everybody! I know she shoots the monster, and then the end just kind of shows the camera and like every monster that's
is after that. There. Yeah.
And I think we did kind of a, did a go around of all of our opinions on whether or not she lived or died, and excuse me. I think we all agreed that we thought that she was pretty much like they died, but they just didn't reveal that. And this one being a prequel, I kind of agree with something that Christy was saying. I think that if you're going to go revisit this, I'd rather revisit it with another family. You know what I mean? And I just kind of want the moment, the triumphant moment when she kills the alien, but then seeing that, okay, they probably didn't make it out after that. I kind of like that ending. I was totally cool.
So it's actually a sequel, but it goes, it shows the beginning, like how it started, but it's a how it started, how it's going story. Because she has the baby, right? Remember the last one?
That's right.
That's
right. Okay, well,
so it's about them trying to find refuge, basically, after the father has passed away, after their home has been destroyed, that kind of thing.
Well, they've got to show me how the hell they got out of that alive. Right? They just can't start off. You know what I mean? Like,
they're fine now. It's all good. Okay.
I have to know. And at that point, if they got out of that situation, they shouldn't be afraid of a damn thing that happens for the rest of this movie, because I'm like, that was like a hopeless, there's no way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm excited about this one. I really want to be excited about it because I loved the last one. But here's my fear. My fear is that they're going in the path of humans are the real monsters. Because just from looking at the trailer, I was like,
Cillian Murphy being all like, no one else is deserving to live now.
Yeah, people that are still alive are monsters too. And I'm like, uh-oh. You know, like, I want monsters. I know people are monsters. That's why I watch horror movies. Like, like, I like to get away and be like, oh yeah, there could be other monsters too. So let me just be happy that I'm only dealing with humans. That doesn't happen. You know, it's just exactly like what happened with The Walking Dead. It turned into too much of people monsters and not enough zombies. So I don't want A Quiet Place to go that route. And I have a feeling they're going to, and it's, as long as they look, people are monsters. Yes, we know that. They're going to put that in there, but I still want a lot of monsters too. So if they don't deliver that, I'm going to start to get pissed.
I also, watching that trailer, I thought the trailer was okay, but watching the trailer, the part with the bus coming at them.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm like, who the hell doesn't just pull to the side?
That's
like,
what I said. I'm all zigzag. Damn it, zigzag. Get out of the way.
Like, you don't love your kids. Like,
roulette with a bus. And they said that scene, she was actually scared too, because they had that bus coming at her at 40 miles an hour. So she was it wasn't hard to act scared.
And I think overall this series, because I know that they don't spend a ton of money on it, but the one thing that I don't like when I watch movies is that when the characters break the rules that they kind of established in it, it's like they're living in this world, and then first she gets, they have a baby. You know what I mean? And then at the beginning of the first movie, where they're in the store and she like trusts the young one to not do anything and make any noise.
After all this, like really?
Leaves them alone with other, you know what I mean? I'm like, come on, y'all don't even, those are like no-nos. Y'all are trying to die. But yeah, I mean, I'll watch it. I don't know if I would go to a theater to watch it though.
Yeah.
Maybe streaming or something.
That reminds me of this TikTok series that I saw, just people catching on to trends and conversations on TikTok, where it was like basically all the stupid stuff that white people do that black people would never do. And how you know the difference because we do the dumbest things.
My new phrase for everything is that's so white.
but when it comes to like noise monsters and like happy children, I'd have been pulling out like Simon on Bridgerton. Like I'd have been doing that cartwheel up out of it. There's no way we're having a baby with sound-seeking beasts around every corner. So.
They still have stores. They still have condoms. Like that's what we're doing.
Hey, who is the guy? I don't know if you noticed in the trailer, but when there's a guy who like grabs her when they're running, making all the noise.
That's Cillian Murphy.
Yeah. Okay, I was like, I recognize. Okay, cool.
He's awesome. He's
cute.
Yeah, he's adorbs and awesome. He's 28 Days Later and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. Now that's an underrated movie too. I don't think that people.
28 Days and 28 Weeks. They're both good, but 28 Days,
Yeah.
So moving on to Breach, I thought this was still something that was not available, but I use justwatch.com. And that's a place, listeners, that you can go to look for like where stuff is streaming and how much it's going to cost you. So according to that, you can stream Breach on any major streaming service starting at like $6.99. But it has a 3.7 on IMDb, and this one is on the cusp of fatherhood. A junior mechanic aboard an interstellar ark to New Earth must outwit a malevolent cosmic terror intent on using the spaceship as a weapon. So that doesn't tell you much. It's Bruce Willis. I called it Die Hard in space. I have not seen it. But Bruce Willis plays the, older dude that kind of knows what's happening and leads the younger dudes in killing space monsters. What did you guys think about this trailer or have you seen this one?
I'm going to hard pass on this one. Just judging by the trailer, I was like, nope.
I'm good on that. I like Bruce Willis too.
I do too, but I just watched a movie because I'm like, okay, I'm starting to play games and do things differently. So I'm like, I'm going to watch a different movie that I normally wouldn't watch. And I found on Netflix Doom from like 2005. And it's based on like a game, I guess, and a book, or maybe Dune is the book and Doom is the game. I don't fucking know. Anyway, what was I thinking? No. And it had The Rock in it. And so it really, just looking at at this trailer, brought me back to that exact movie I had just watched the night before, and I had like PTSD. I was like, nope, this looks exactly like Dune, and I'm gonna fucking pass. Thank you.
Hey, I'm ashamed to say I paid to go watch that Dune. That was actually one of the few movies I ever walked out on because I was like, this movie sucks. Because it's the one with the rocket. Isn't that the one where they were walking and like this thing like slices everybody in a bunch of pieces or something? Yeah, I was out soon after that.
Yeah, it had Rosamund Pike in it, and she's so pretty. And this was before. But the thing is the weirdest part, because it was done in 2005. The Rock wasn't even a top biller. They still had him as Dwayne Johnson at like the very bottom. So I was like, ooh, it's got The Rock in it. It must be good. Forgetting that back in 2005, he wasn't really doing much.
Yeah, he's still a wrestler, unproven. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, this is a piece of shit. Yeah, it was bad. I did finish it, but barely. I think I was pretty checked out by the end. But yes, when I watched this video trailer, it was very simple, just the kitschy, cheesy, like one-liners and the weird, like
PIA color Mother Alien. That's what I was thinking. That's how I was like, Die Hard in space.
Exactly.
So I also like to do the math on these things, and 3 stars. I like to do it by stars. So if it's $6, it's $2 a star. So choose your own return on investment on that one.
I don't even know if I'll watch it if it's free, because I just no thanks. I'm not. That's just not my jam. And I love outer space movies, but I like ones that are weird and creepy and
this
scary.
looks like a retread of every other space movie done less well. But
yep.
So then moving on to Morbius, I feel like I saw the trailer for this in an actual movie theater at some point, and it is one that got pushed back. It's supposed to now go all the way back to January 21st, 2022. So we're looking at a year still, and I don't know if there's going to be any interest for this, but Morbius is biochemist Michael Morbius tries to cure himself of a rare blood disease, but inadvertently infects himself with a form of vampirism instead. Vampirism. Yes, instead. He becomes a vampire, goddammit. To me, my take on this was Jared Leto always wanted to be Batman. He got close with Joker, and when that ended, he decided to literally become a Batman. So I don't know if I'm here for it, but when I first saw the trailer like a year ago, it looked interesting. What do you guys think?
Was this okay, I watched the trailers. I can't remember. Is this in some sort of comic universe, or is he just some one-off? Which one is it?
It's not tied to the MCU or any of that. It's kind of like a more obscure story that I think, that Jared Leto was like, this is what I should be doing. So, yeah.
But it's not tied to DC or Marvel or anything, the universe like that.
I forget who does the comic. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll figure it out.
Okay. I'm just, I mean, I like Jared Leto. When he, I don't know if you guys have seen Dallas Buyers Club, not a horror movie, but an amazing fucking movie. It's really good. He deserved the Oscar. He got it. He deserved it. He was incredible.
Okay, it is an obscure Marvel comic. Sorry, go ahead.
It is. Okay. I just, because this way I thought would be up you guys' alley. If it's not up your alley, it's definitely not going to be up mine, because I'm just, I like vampire movies, but this one I don't want. Is he a superhero? Is he a bad? I can't figure out where they're going with this one. Mm-hmm. And there's just enough comic characters. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't think this one ties to the MCU, but they picked an obscure comic and it's kind of interesting. What did you think about that, Yardley?
Well, it's a Sony thing, but I think that Sony and the Marvel Cinematic Universe folks know at some point they're gonna have how they have like this agreement where they can use Tom Holland's Spider-Man, which is a Sony property as well. Mm-hmm. At some point, obviously, we're gonna get Spider-Man in the Venom movies and all of those things. But we do know that in the next couple of years, they're dropping the MCU with Disney. They're gonna drop the Blade. Saying they're gonna kind of reboot Blade. And in the Marvel comics, there were times where Mobius and Blade fought against one another.
That could be interesting.
So maybe in a few years down the line, after this has been established and, they work out their contract agreements, if there's some type of a crossover with Blade and Morbius, I would be even more interested. So for me, I kind of feel like the seed might be planted for that. So out of curiosity, I might check this one out. And plus, it's not Leto playing Jokers. Like, I don't really like his Joker.
I didn't think he was good either. Yeah. I loved Blade. I didn't even know that was a comic. I just loved freaking Blade. If they bring Blade back, that would make me super happy. I might.
It's Mahershala Ali is who's going to be the new Blade.
Oh no shit. Okay. Yeah. I could definitely get down with Blade. If they do it right, which I would think that they would, because, these are their characters and they take a lot of pride in them. And I think, especially somebody like Blade, who was beloved in the 90s as much as he was, I could get down with that. If they want to bring this character in, I wish they did Blade first. Does that make sense? Yeah. Like, bring Blade out, because Blade is more known, and then introduce Morbius in the Blade and then go into the I don't know. I just think that they're just churning out these characters like crazy, and I feel like it's oversaturation. Like, calm down, establish some stories, and me, for somebody who's not into comics, I don't know whose is what. So all I see all the time, like New Mutants and this and that and all the, I'm like, can't fucking keep up with that. Plus you add the Disney Star Wars shit and all I'm like, it's just overwhelming. And so I just feel like they're churning it out for a buck instead of really sitting down and like being, and maybe it works for them, so they're doing it. But for people who aren't really, really into the comic part of it and just are out for the stories, it's getting really convoluted out there. So I'm just old and I'm fuddy-duddy. So everybody's probably listening and going, shut the fuck up. You don't even know what you're talking about. And I totally embrace it. It's fine. But,
there's a lot of stuff out there, but you just kind of have to break down like the Sony stuff and what they put out. See, Sony has property rights to some of this stuff. If you've got an IP, you want to make money off of it. I get it. And then you have the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the stuff that's owned by Disney, and it's kind of the same thing. But the difference is, Disney has kind of methodically, like for everybody who might think that it's too much or, it's been going on. This has been a process going on for over a decade for the Marvel side.
They set everything up brilliantly.
Yeah,
for sure.
so I give them a little bit more credit, a little bit more leeway for being organized and methodical in their approach. And then there was a lot of stuff that was going on where you had the DC franchises with all of their stuff. They were trying to play catch up, and that kind of got them in trouble with the product that they were putting out. Mm-hmm. But I think that they're slowing everything down, and by doing Morbius and a lot of these one-shot things and kind of letting these characters do their own thing and try to figure out how to incorporate that into a larger universe, possibly with Marvel. I think that that's a good tact, because if you're a comic fan, you're like, there were so many years where you wasn't getting this stuff. And so now that people are getting it and it's making money, like it's not just making. I was going to
say comic fans equal dollars and cents for sure.
Absolutely. But these movies aren't reliant just on comic fans. Like the comic fans are the super minority who's bringing in this dough. Mm-hmm. It's casual people like Christy who's bringing in.
When they make these movies, what good enough and they have good enough leads and all that. Yeah, for sure.
Because we'll complain about, what I'm saying? Also, we'll complain, like we overthink it because we've been fans and we might, complain about it. But like Chrissy's just like,
I mean, here's the deal though. When you, like I got, again, we're talking about TikTok, but I got on a TikTok rabbit hole that was accidental, but I enjoyed it. And it kind of like, again, brought me of this feeling of seeing people that actually love comics, where somebody was playing, the audience reactions to Endgame, and everybody was losing their fucking minds in there, like losing their fucking minds when Thor got the Captain America got the hammer, and literally I get chills thinking of what I saw in the video. People were screaming in there, and then whenever when Iron Man ended up getting the stones instead of what's his face. And just watch it. And there were just video after video after video of people like screaming during all of those parts. And when the circle opens and Black Panther and his team comes through, like at the very beginning where they're getting their, Captain America and Iron Man are getting their ass kicked. And then all of a sudden the circle opens and Black Panther comes through. That was the first video I watched. And I was like, oh man, because, I think about him and he's no longer here. And then everybody in the audience was like losing their fucking minds. And he was panning it to that, like, not just like you could hear them, you could see them. And they were all screaming like you were watching the Super Bowl. And I was like, holy shit, these people are losing their damn minds. And I was like, that is awesome because we love these characters so much. So I feel like if they introduce these types of characters in a movie that you already know the character and then parlay his story, you're going to get more of a reaction from people like me, because I go to that movie of a character I know. I don't know who Morbius is. I don't know where he connects. So if they want to keep us types that don't understand the comic universe at all, they really do need, like I said, they should have done Blade first. I know Blade. I will go and see Blade, not even knowing he was in a comic. And then they put Morbius in there, and then they do a Morbius. Then I would go to the Morbius one. It's just confusing and weird. I can't track everything. I don't know which universe is what. It just gets... So then I kind of lose interest because I'm old and I don't understand it. But
welcome to Creeping It Real Comics Corner, y'all.
Yeah, I could talk this all day.
Hey,
I want to do a video of like Christy with her boobs out, looking all hot like Christy does, talking comics, just like non-comics fans talk comics. Have been, just so a little bit real quick, I have been a target this week of some Comicsgate hate. If y'all don't know what Comicsgate is, it's older white males who don't like women or minorities in in comics. So I've been targeted a little bit this week, which is fine. Whatever. It's a badge of honor. Honestly, it means you're making it in the space. But they would really fucking lose their minds if something came out with Christy just like, and this is what I think about comics. Like, you're adorable. That would be amazing, Christy.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about it. That's my thing. Like, I'll watch a movie if it looks good. I have no fucking idea or care about it and how it. I want it to have its space, though. I don't think it doesn't belong. I just personally can't relate or understand it. And so I respect it. It just doesn't, it's not my thing. Like, if you wanted to talk the universe of horror movies, girl, I will put it up.
No, I'm not teasing you at all. You are the majority of people. That's why I think it would be amazing to like have you break it down for people.
They want. I mean, I'm just talking about the people putting out the movies.
Sure.
If you're just looking at interest in keeping the comic fanatics in like you guys, then don't care what I fucking say. But if you churn out people and characters and nobody knows where they're coming from or who they are, you're not going to get as big of a response, because I don't fucking know. But when the second Yardley said, "Oh, he fights Blade," well, then my ears perked up, and I was like, "Blade? Hell yeah, I love Blade." Okay, well, you should have done Blade first. That's all I'm saying. So anyway,
everything in that universe is carefully crafted, and I think that they're going to introduce this character as a way, like Yardley said. Now that you said it, Yardley, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and I kind of recall my husband mentioning, being excited about Morbius for these kinds of reasons. I just hope. The trailer is well cut. It looks well done. I know I'm in the minority because he's had some good roles, but I am not a big Jared Leto fan with his whole cult and everything. And I feel like he's kind of a vanity project guy, and I'd rather not see him like on my DC and my Marvel. But
and also, do you think it's gonna be scary though? Like y'all think that this is gonna be?
I think it's gonna be weird. I hope it's going to be well done. I hope it's not going to be another, what's the other mess that we're going to talk about in a minute? The New Mutants. I hope it's not a New Mutants mess. Especially, I know they want it in the theater, but the amount of times it's been pushed back sort of starts to make you wonder if there's problems with it, Did
you read the thing when you were talking about Jared Leto and all of this personal stuff? But I saw a headline and I didn't click and read it, but it was basically saying that he went to some type of a retreat or something to meditate when he came of it, like COVID was going
30 Seconds to Mars fans are a bunch of like hot chicks, basically young chicks, and they basically did Fire Festival on an island, but he's the leader of it, and it's a whole weird thing, and I'm not a huge fan. And I feel like had Morbius come out when it was supposed to, I might not have known that, and I might have been a little more inclined to be into it, but that's just my hot take.
Well, I think, and here's my personal opinion, and then I'll be quiet because, again, I don't know shit about any of the stories. But I think Morbius has got a better chance of doing okay being pushed back than the New Mutants, because people like me knew kind of where the New Mutants was and knew that story and knew it was coming. So Morbius, I didn't even fucking know that was coming. So I'm like, yeah, okay, it got pushed out, whatever. I'm not going to lose patience or interest in it when it does come out. I'll watch it. Now, the New Mutants, I got so irritated because it was so hyped up and went so crazy for so long. And then they kept pushing it back. It was like, okay, I still haven't watched.
Well, we'll get to that one in a second because there were extenuating circumstances on that. But I do want to move us along to talk about Candyman, because when I talk about the resident fan of something, Candyman is my jam. Let me just describe it real quick. So this was supposed to come out last year. It's now been pushed back to August 27th, 2021 in theaters. They're hoping. Hopefully it won't get pushed back again. I would put like 10 masks on and go see it in a theater, I think. But it is the spiritual sequel to the 1992 horror film Candyman, that returns to the now gentrified Chicago neighborhood, Cabrini Green, as we've talked about, where the legend began. And I have things to say about it, but I'm going to let y'all go first. Are you still excited? What'd you think of the trailer, et cetera, et cetera?
I mean, I'm still excited. We talked about some of the movies that we were the most excited for in a show, I think like late last year. I'm excited for it, but the more it gets pushed back, the more I'm like, I'd probably just rather watch it at home.
Wait to rent it. We've already been waiting this long.
Yeah,
for sure.
And I don't know what the COVID situation is going to be in August. I don't think it's going to be much different than it is now.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just think that they need to just set a date and just say that they're going to possibly, either put it on iTunes where you could, I don't know, purchase it for a decent price. I also don't believe in some of these movies dropping on streaming like $30.
Yeah,
$35
to rent for like a day.
Like, no.
Yeah.
No way. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I guess that comes out considering you could have a house full of people, and watch it. But most people don't.
Stupid idea too, but yeah.
but this, I'm a fan of Candyman too. So I'm probably going to watch it by hook or crook some kind of way. I'm excited about it.
Christy?
I don't want to be such a party pooper, but I just did not get into this trailer. I wanted to because I love Candyman, but I was just like, this looks exactly like the same story. And I just didn't, I was hoping for something different. I don't know if I like where they're going with the story, and it's going to make me sad if I'm right. Of course, I'm going to watch it. I watched the trailer twice because I'm like, am I missing something, or am I just, maybe I wasn't paying attention enough, and I just kept watching it and going, I understand he's now the Candyman. Yes, I'm getting that. But I'm also like, where is the story going? What's different in this story that was not in the other? I don't know. It's so hard to read a movie with a trailer, but I just wasn't, if they're putting their best foot forward in the trailer, I don't know. Of course I'm going to watch it. I'm just very cautiously excited about it because I don't know where they're going, and it seems diluted almost. I don't know. It just seemed weird. Maybe you said spiritual sequel, and I'm like, that's exactly what it was, because it was like even more like hocus pocusy than the normal Candyman, which I love that, but it just was a little out there. I was just kind of like,
Jordan Peele wrote it, which, we love Us and, oh my God, I can't remember the other one, the first one with the tea stirring, but we love his films. He wrote this one, so I have good faith in that. I love the lead. I will butcher his name, but he was the Watchmen lead as well, Abdul Mateen II. I can't say his first name, but he's amazing and gorgeous, so I'm excited to see him. I think now there's a lot out there in the fandom about this movie. So Helen, the original, the white lady played by Virginia Madsen in the very first film, is back in some capacity. And if you all remember the end of the original film, she becomes some form of like Bloody Mary or Candyman. And then that's kind of dropped for the next two films. So I don't know. They say Helen is back. I don't know if it's going to be like prequel where someone else plays her and it's like they just show kind of more of, because there's supposed to be more of the backstory of Candyman's origin. I don't know how that's going to look. I know Tony Todd is in it, but when you hear the voiceover saying, "Be my victim" and all that, that's not his voice. So I'm really curious where they're going to take it. I love the lore. I love the horror of Candyman being on several layers, where it's the horrors of racism and slavery, the horrors of, the whole, call Bloody Mary or Candyman or whoever in the mirror. And then they have that third layer, which is an actual, boogeyman stalking Cabrini Green, who was basically a gang member that was hurting people, to try to kind of keep the fear of Candyman alive in the world. So I don't know what they're going to do with this one. I was really sad when I heard that they had torn down the original Cabrini Green, because it was like one of my bucket list places that I wanted to check out someday, because I think there was a murder that actually inspired the original film there, and they have gentrified it, and I feel like there's going to be a lot of space for talking about race relations and gentrification and that kind of stuff in this new one, as there always has been in the series. So
that is probably one of those things where now Jordan Peele is like he's like a producer, but the person who's directing it is Nia DaCosta.
So
I know obviously we're gonna Jordan Peele is somebody that most people are
He's the
familiar.
credited writer, though. But yeah.
Yeah. I'm just kind of more interested also to see how she directs this movie too. So for me, it's just kind of a little bit of
her big major debut, right? Like she hasn't done a big project on this scale, has she?
Yeah, she's actually gonna well, prior to that, it was like Little Woods, and I think that had gosh, who was it? I think Little Woods was a movie that had what is the woman who plays Valkyrie in
Oh, I love her. Yeah.
I think that movie has her in it. I might be mistaken. I'll look it up as we go on.
Sure.
But she's also going to direct the next Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel,
too. So she's coming up. So I'm so I'm gonna be very curious to see what happens on that front.
Little Woods, you're right. Tessa Thompson, the beautiful Tessa freaking Thompson. Yeah, yep. So I have a lot of buzz for it. Go ahead.
I think the interesting part about Candyman that is different than a lot of the other quote unquote boogeyman movies is when you say his name, there is no wait time. His ass comes after you.
Yeah.
There's no wait 3 days or he's going to come and stalk you for the entire movie and then you might die. No, he's like there and you're dead and you're gone like within seconds. So that is one thing I definitely love about Candyman, and it definitely shows that in this trailer too, where you see these girls saying it in the mirror and they're like, haha, we're still alive. And then like 5 seconds later, they're all dead and bloody on the floor. So I like that. And I love Candyman. I really, really, really am afraid that they're going to run this into a weird area of story that
he's going to be the next Michael Myers, where they just keep killing him and he keeps coming back.
Michael Myers on like a whole other weird magical plane of like stuff. Like I love the racism message and I love all that other stuff. I don't want it to get diluted into some weird other stuff. Like I'm worried they're taking it into a place that gets away from the original message. And you can't tell all that from a trailer. I just had that feeling when I was watching it and I was like, oh no, please don't do this. Because when I get into a sequel or I get into a story, it's like a relationship. So I'm like, I have to break up with you because you turned something into an area that is not true to the actual story. I'm going to get pissed. We're going to fight and we're going to break up. And it's very, very sad to me. And I actually mourn it. So I was like, no, please don't do this.
Because she's very invested.
I am. I love
there's a lot of that stuff in the original Candyman too, though.
Oh, totally. But
that's why I love it. It's brilliant on every level.
It totally is. And that's what I hope it continues. It just seemed to go further into another, I don't know. I was having a hard time following the trailer, I guess, was my problem.
Gotcha.
And maybe because there's so many layers to this story.
Yeah, there's definitely going to go back and forth. And there's going to be some time jumps. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah. So I will be cautiously excited.
So I'm going to move us on to Amulet, which looks, it's got a 4.7. It's available if you have Hulu to watch right now. It kind of looks like in the vein of like The Witch and those kind of films. An ex-soldier, living homeless in London, is offered a place to stay in a decaying house inhabited by a young woman and her dying mother. As he starts to fall for her, he cannot ignore his suspicion. I'm wrong. This one doesn't look like The Witch. That something sinister is going on. Being that it's on Hulu, have either one of you seen this one?
Yeah, I watched it. It's essentially, gosh, I don't even know how to say it without a spoiler. It's basically about repentant people getting, basically the comeuppance from people doing bad things.
Okay,
that's basically
like a karma type of thing.
Yeah, people kind of paying a penance for the bad things that they've done in the past, and it's kind of a cycle of things that continually happen. So you basically you're trying to figure out what's going on in this house that the soldier is currently living in. There are mysteries that you're trying to figure out along with him, but then there's stuff that happens like in the third act of the film where you're like, well, damn, I had no idea that this is where it was going with it. So, I mean, it's just okay. Like if you never saw it, I don't think that you're missing out on anything, but it totally, I don't know if I would give it, is that IMDb score 4.7 out of 10 or out of 5?
Yeah, out of 10.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's probably a 4.5 or something like that out of 10. No,
it's something to watch when you got nothing else going.
You've seen worse. I'm pretty sure everybody here will have seen worse, and it's only I think around an hour and a half. Yeah, it's only like an hour 35 minutes or something like that. So it's weird though. You know what I mean? So give it a check. Because I think that people were ranting and raving about it after like the Sundance Film Festival or something.
Okay. Like Christy, do you have any interest in it?
Yeah, I've seen it a couple of times advertised, and I think the score on IMDb has gone up on it because I don't believe it was very high when I looked it up a month ago. I don't know when it came out, but I saw it somewhere and I was like, this looks interesting. And the score wasn't very high. So then I was like, oh, no, I'm not, there's too many other things, too many other options. So I skipped over it. But I'm glad now, if Yardley thinks it's a 4.5, then it's worth a check and see. Sure. So I'll check
already have Hulu. Why not? Right?
It's not horrendous, and the way that it's shot is pretty cool. It's real gloomy, and it just like when there's mold in a house that he's in, and the way that they shot it and the way that their designers did it, you like smell the mold in your house. It's real icky. It's one of those deals.
That's cool, I guess.
Yeah, check it out.
Yeah,
smelling mold, super cool. So moving on to Antlers. Now this one, so let me tell you about it real quick. In an isolated Oregon town, a middle school teacher and her sheriff brother become embroiled with her enigmatic, mysterious student whose dark secrets lead to terrifying encounters with a legendary ancestral creature who came before them. This one stars Kerry Russell. It's due now, October 29th, 2021. It was supposed to have come out last year, and then there was kind of like a lot of mystery of like, was it just going to drop to streaming or what? Because I tried to find it a couple times. I think it looks pretty well done, but it could just be a retrot of all the same old shit. But Kerry Russell, I really like her. What do you guys think of this one?
I'm excited for this one because it's about Wendigos, which I don't know very many. There is one movie about a Wendigo, but it looks really stupid and has a really low rating. So hopefully they did it right because I love the story of Wendigo. In fact, I would love to talk about Wendigos at some point. It's a Native American creature that they fully 100% believe in, and I thought the trailer looked really good. Mm-hmm. Again, that's never a indicator of the movie, but I wish they'd have just put it out in 2020 and let us enjoy it on streaming. I would have paid $10 for it to see it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I hate that they're pushing it back like this because I just don't know if everybody's pushing these movies back, and they're going to be competing with higher level movies that have been pushed
that are
back.
Newer and haven't been dragging for the past 2 years. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I kind of feel like it's probably going to get lost in the shuffle, but I'm definitely going to watch this one, and I hope I'm not disappointed because I love the topic.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Yards?
Yeah, I'm with Christy. I'll definitely give it a shot. I mean, I don't think that when it comes to like horror movies and stuff like this, I just don't even see the point in keeping on pushing these types of movies back.
Yeah.
Because Halloween was the one, what was the name of the Halloween before this one? The one that I can't even remember, but even with the movies like that, you just can't keep pushing it. Just put these out. I don't think that they're like, I think that movie, the Halloween movie, just out of curiosity,
it spent on it too.
Well, it made, that movie made way more than even the people who made the movie thought that it would.
Yeah.
That's a fluke. Like, you know what I mean? Like stuff like, the It series, you know how much bag that made. But it was a fluke. The second one didn't make as much money, and it's just kind of a crapshoot. Yeah. And I don't think that horror movies, just on average, are the types of things that you're like, oh, this is going to be a hit.
And real fans will pay like $20 to watch it at home. So
yeah. And this is I don't know. I wasn't like, I really think that the title of this movie is cheesy. Like, I don't understand why they chose this as Antlers. The name. antlers. Like what?
I swear,
I
like
mean,
look at this list though. Everything's like a one name, like a one word title. If you look at this whole list, almost everything is one word. Like it's kind of weird.
But don't those Wendigos have like don't they have like antlers as part of their thing though, right? Isn't that what Wendigos have? Is like antlers tied to their head?
But I would rather it say Wendigo. Like I just don't understand why they.
It's probably one of those things like in the European market, it's Wendigo, but for like the stupid Americans, they're like it has antlers.
So therefore, it's named Antlers.
Yeah. Make it easy for the dumbasses. Yeah, no.
I'm like, oh, Rudolph's like gone bad. Like, what the fuck? I don't know.
You definitely have to do that sometimes because that movie, which I love, is called the Edge of Tomorrow, the one with Tom Cruise where they keep going through that time loop. Yeah. But like in the Japanese translation, that they stole this concept of this movies from, I think it like translated out to All You Need Is Kill. I think that was like the name of the comic. And it's like, no, you know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. Like, you have to change that because I love those movies. And if you were like, you're going to see All You Need Is Kill, I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm just totally not. So, I mean, I get it. But yeah, I'm curious as well. So I'll dive in whenever I get an opportunity.
Nice. Moving on to Spiral, which is due May 21st, 2021. I'm not sure if this one has been pushed back, but it does star Chris Rock, Sam Jackson, and I put a bunch of hot dudes because the hot guy from The Handmaid's Tale is in it that plays Nick. I just have a thing for him. But this is in the Saw universe. I'm thinking it's a reboot, I guess. A sadistic mastermind unleashes a twisted form of justice in Spiral, the terrifying new chapter from the Book of Saw. Are we here for another motherfucking Saw movie?
Hey, y'all, I never got into those movies. So
you know what? My first reaction is fuck no. But when I watched this trailer, I didn't know at first that it was a Saw movie. And I was really into it. So I was like, ooh, this looks really good. But then I was like, oh, Saw? Yeah. What? But okay, so if it intrigued me at the beginning before I knew it was a Saw movie, maybe I'll watch it because I like Chris Rock and Samuel L. Jackson. I was excited when I saw Chris Rock, and then all of a sudden here comes Samuel Jackson, and I was like, oh my God, this movie's gonna be amazing. And then they're like, from the Saw series, and I was like, oh, what? But I will definitely watch this. It seems like they're kind of taking it in a different direction, which is a good thing to me. Like some of these movies, I'm like, please don't take in another direction, and then some of them, I'm like, yes, take in another direction. Definitely Saw, if they're going to continue it, they gotta have to go into a different avenue. I think if Chris Rock and Samuel Jackson signed up for it, it's got to be watchable at least. Mm-hmm. So I will definitely give it a shot.
So I am probably, I guess, in the minority here as well. I enjoyed the first Saw movie. I think that it was a rare example of torture porn with a story and a plot. I think that was really well done. And even though there was a lot of painful stuff, it works for me. And I still will rewatch it every once in a while. So if we're just going to forget that all the rest of them after that happened and just go on to Spiral, that could be cool.
How many of Saw? Is there like 10? I mean, there's a lot.
Yeah, and they're just torture porn at a certain point. Like, the premise, and it's just torture porn, which if some people are into that, obviously there's a market for it, or they wouldn't keep making them. But I'm hoping that this is back to more in the vein of like Seven, where it's like brutal serial killings and they're working it as a mystery to solve that's creepy.
You nailed it. That's exactly what I thought. In fact, at the beginning of the trailer, I'm like, and I didn't, because, when you're watching the trailers, it doesn't tell you the name of the movie at the beginning. And I'm like, oh my God, they remade Seven. Like, that's exactly what I thought was happening. And I was like, they must have put a weird twist on it or something. And then I was like, Saw? Like, what? I was like really kind of confused. That's exactly what I thought. So if they could maybe pull this off if they did it right. So I'm with you. I liked the first couple of Saw ones, but then it's just different characters, same freaking story.
Yeah. And same just a lot thing. Of torture.
They're all going to die. And yeah, we get it. They're all going to die. They all were bad, or they all did something, or we understand. So I think it could be an interesting twist. We'll see.
So moving on to Antebellum the movie, because if you try to tell Amazon Prime that you want Antebellum, it'll give you the music. So it is available now for $1 on Amazon Prime. It's got a 5.6 on IMDb. Successful author Veronica Henley finds herself trapped in a horrifying reality and must uncover the mind-bending mystery before it's too late. It stars the freaking gorgeous Janelle Monáe. I attempted to watch it last night, and I couldn't finish. And I'll tell you why, and this could make me unpopular, and that's fine. I thought, so when you watch the trailer, it shows Janelle Monáe's character in the modern world, and she's just killing it. She's on top of the world. She's successful. She's modern. The fashion, beautiful, everything. And then they show stuff back in like she gets thrown basically into slavery, to 1800s, whatever. I thought that it was going to start with her in the modern world, and then we were going to get the horror of a modern woman that had everything being thrown back. It starts in the time of slavery, and it is unrelenting. Like, we are all aware that slavery is a horrific thing, and we should all do our diligence in reading and watching and being aware of what all happened. But this movie, the first 40 minutes is just rape, torture. It doesn't let up whatsoever. And it starts there. And I found the rape stuff very kind of triggering, and I just couldn't do it. So I did not finish watching it. So maybe I don't have the ability to judge. But when I actually started looking at some more reviews, a lot of people were saying this could have made a big impact and had a lot to say, but it misses the mark. Have you guys seen it? Are you guys interested in it?
I haven't. I haven't seen it. I'm not that big of a fan of Janelle Monáe as an actress. So that's another reason why I'm like, so I haven't given it a chance. And looking at some of the reviews myself, just kind of trying to see if it's something that I would want to watch. A lot of the complaints are similar to what you were saying. Like, a lot of people, like, it had a lot of potential, but it didn't. And I had no idea that I thought it was going to be something where maybe it was going back and forth, but I didn't know with you saying that it was like 40 minutes of this and all of that. Not that I could, I can stomach a lot of stuff, but it's really, you have to be driving something home in the early goings, and what you said just isn't making me feel good about watching it. So maybe when it's free, if it comes on a streaming service, I might attempt it. But a streaming service not for pay or
right. Christy?
I was really excited when I saw this trailer a while back, and I really wanted to watch it, and then I forgot about it. So whenever I saw that it was streaming now and available, I was excited. I didn't end up watching it. I guess I'm glad I didn't, because that would be extremely hard for me to swallow. Like, I can go a little bit of the rape and torture, but if it's overkill on that, I'm not capable of doing that. So I would probably try to watch it, because who directed or wrote this movie? Is it somebody we know? Like, is it? Why did
Jordan
I think
Peele is listed as a producer? Okay. And so I think that was why people were excited. But when you have producer credits, that's kind of a honorary monetary decision. Like, it doesn't mean that he necessarily had a big hand in the film itself, and that kind of shows.
Okay. All right. So, because usually, he creates very uncomfortable topics, very uncomfortable situations for people. So it's like, okay, but usually, like what you said and like what Yardley said, if it's not going somewhere and it's literally just in your face, really, really bad things that you can only stomach for a small part, and they're just going to like continue it throughout most of the movie. It's not something that I'll try it. I'll definitely try to watch it, because I'm interested now about what exactly is this message supposed to be, that they've got to drive that into the story so thoroughly.
Yeah.
So I'll give it a shot.
It available to me for today and tomorrow, or the rest of today anyway, because of the $1 that I paid or whatever. So I may fast forward and try to kind of see what it gets to. So I might give it another chance. But for context too, I was watching it with 3 other people in real time last night. We just do the thing where we message each other while we're watching the movie together. And none of us, we were all like, we can't can't do this.
Whoa.
So we actually
Wow.
we actually went to watch they hadn't seen Sinister yet.
Mhm.
And if we can stomach like whole families getting slaughtered for the duration of an entire film, you know that we're not new to the horror genre, but this was a lot. So
Wow.
moving on to The Empty Man. It's probably terrible, but it does have a 5.7 on IMDb. The Empty Man, it looks a lot like Slender Man, which I have not seen only because I've heard it's so bad, and I actually like Slender Man, and so I don't want to have it ruined by watching a terrible Slender Man film. But this is on the trail of a missing girl. An ex-cop comes across a secretive group attempting to summon a terrifying supernatural entity. And again, it's available starting at $5.99 on multiple streaming services. Does this look too cheesy for you guys, or are you here for this?
I almost watched this one last night instead of the one further down that I did watch. The reason why I didn't watch it, because I was like, wow, 5.7 on IMDb, that's a lot. Because I was looking up these on IMDb as I was watching the trailers. That 5.7 is only from like 3,000 people. So I was like, and then the one that I did watch was a 5.4, but it was like 20,000 people. So I was kind of like, okay, that seems like a little bit more of a real, because, when these movies first come out, half of them are fake. Like, they're out there to drive up the score to get people to watch. And then it kind of goes down, and then it evens out somewhere along the way. So the trailer to me was, a little cringy. But when I saw the score, I was like, okay, well, maybe this is good. And then I saw the amount of people, and I was like, I think I'm going to wait on this one. So I'll watch it. I'm just kind of waiting. The other one intrigued me more, judging by the trailer, which is why I chose it. But I'm not excited about it, but I'll watch it.
Yardley?
Agreed. I mean, I'm curious, so I'll probably check it out.
Nice.
What do
So
you think?
for me,
Yeah.
I probably will check it out. I don't know if I'm going to $6 check it out, but it's in my wheelhouse. So I will catch it at some point if I remember. But we are running long today. We've got a lot more movies, and I don't want to short us because I want to give the listeners stuff to watch. So let's move on to The New Mutants, which we mentioned earlier. 5 young mutants just discovering their abilities while held in a secret facility against their will, fight to escape their past sins and save themselves. The trailer originally, 2 years ago, looked awesome. It looked like a straight-up horror film from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, starring a lot of up-and-comers that we love, including Maisie Williams. I've had some friends who have seen this, and they were big fans of the MCU, and they were just like, that's a movie that exists in the world. So it actually wasn't just pushed back due to COVID. It was pushed back due to rewrites.
Yeah.
It's been pushed
I think
back
it's
due
Sony
to
too. I don't think that's
Mhm.
Sony's.
Right. Due to
yeah,
screenings gone bad. So anyway, are you guys here for this one?
Hell no.
Well, if you guys aren't into it, I'm not. I have no interest in seeing this one. I think I could have been at the beginning. We just watched Maisie Williams in a movie. What was that? Oh yeah, The Owners. And
Yeah.
I was like, you could tell how long ago this film was. She looked like a baby. I was like, come on, y'all waited this long. Like, I just not interested at all. Sorry, I just know anything in that trailer, not one thing intrigued me, not one. So I know that's completely out of my wheelhouse.
I also, just like Moni was mentioning earlier, it didn't help all the production issues. So that in itself let me know that it probably wasn't going to be that good.
Mm-hmm.
And then the premise of the thing is essentially, they're all going to be discovering what type of powers they have or whatever. And I'm like, I know what powers they have because they showed it all in the damn trailer. You know what I mean? Like, might not have the specifics, but I know glowing hands when I see them, and I know about big wolves and stuff like that.
Yeah, we know what's happening here.
It's like,
Not
I'm
our
good.
first rodeo.
I don't understand why they did the rewrites or what the rewrites were supposed to be, but I feel like the story leading up, you're right, seemed really dark and like good, like, ooh, this is going to be scary, kind of a good scary take on that universe. And then this one, I was like, huh, okay. Well, it just didn't seem, definitely didn't catch my attention. I glazed right over it. And that just tells me, I thought maybe you guys would be super excited because it must be doing something, filling some sort of story that needs to be there. But if y'all aren't interested, if y'all would have said, no, you really need to watch this, it feels a need for something else, I'd be like, okay. But all right, y'all just completely justified feelings
it's
of
over.
nope.
Kick the dirt on it like a dog and move on. Yep. Nope.
Yep. Pretty much.
So something that should have been good, but I haven't watched, Train to Busan 2 Peninsula. This is actually, the zombie virus is now 4 years into the spread of South Korea. I just copied and pasted this and realized this next sentence makes no fucking sense whatsoever. But it is a sequel to Train to Busan. And that being said, we loved that one. That was something that Yardley brought to us that we didn't think we would love. And we all loved it. It has a 5.4 on IMDb, and it's available to stream starting at $3.99. Have either of you seen this, and is either of you interested in this one?
I have not. I did enjoy the first one. I thought the first one was great. And from what I get out of this trailer, it seems like a lot of the characters, it seems like you don't have a lot of the older statesmen, just older characters in it. It seems like it's way more high speed. It just doesn't. There's just something about having zombies and stuff when you're trapped in a small space and things like that made the first one appealing. So it seems like they're expanding it out a little bit more and being even more extreme with what they're doing. I'm not confident that I'm going to like it. At some point, I will watch it. I don't know if I want to drop close to the 5 on it, though.
Yeah,
I haven't heard people
raving. The first one was so good that, like, what if it's not good? Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, I mean, no, that's what I was saying. I haven't heard anybody raving about it, and to the point where I'm like, I don't know if I can give up close to 5 for it, but there are ways, so I will eventually check it out.
For sure. Christy?
This has been out for a while, and when it first came out, I was really excited because, again, we had Train to Busan has a special place in our heart. It was such a surprise for me that I loved it so much. I think the reason why I loved it so much is the story of the father and everything. It really was a heartfelt movie as on top of scary. So then when it came out, I started reading some reviews and, I said they're all fake, but you can definitely sift through the ones to know, people giving a movie a 10 across, so it's great. Those are fake. So I started going in and reading the reviews, a lot of disappointment in those reviews. And it scared me to not want to give it a try because I didn't want it to turn into bad taste in my mouth to the original, if that makes any sense. I don't want to walk away from something I really, really liked if this one's just not to par. And it doesn't have to be equal, but it needs to be enough. And from what I was reading, it wasn't. And so I was kind of waiting to let the ratings kind of pile in a little bit more before I was going to try it. I'll probably watch it. I'm just now going to go into it with a little bit more caution because I was really excited when it first came out. And then I saw that and I was like, I'll pass. But I'll come back to it, like Yardley said, when it's less money.
Oh, sure. So moving on to Relic, which is one that I have not seen, but I am actually interested in. It has a 6 on IMDb. It is $3.99 and up on multiple streaming services, and it is a daughter, mother, and grandmother are haunted by the manifestation of dementia that consumes their family's home. Dementia stories have been pretty good so far. I hope they're not just retrotting the same old shit. What do you guys think?
I've seen it. I've seen this one. I actually talked about it in one of those "What Are You Watching" segments at the end of something, but I don't know how to talk about this movie because it's you should watch it because it brings out a lot of different opinions and feelings. It's a very polar type of movie. The dementia piece it's so hard to explain. I want you to watch it so that there's somebody else that can give me their opinion on it.
Okay.
It's strange. I'll just say that. It's very, very strange. And I thought I knew what was going on. But then when I finished watching it, I looked it up and I was right. And I kind of didn't want to be right. I wanted it to be more than it was. Mm-hmm. But I mean, people clearly love it because it's when they say manifestation, they mean that's literal. There's some weird shit going on in that movie. So watch it.
Cool.
And give me your opinion.
Cool. Yardley, are you here for three generations of white women acting crazy?
I'll check it. We'll see we'll have to see what's going on. That was something that I was always curious about as well. I mean, I'll give it a chance.
Okay.
You'll be scratching your head, that's for sure.
It looks well done. So
then also, a lot of the movies that have someone who has dementia in it comes along, they're usually probably decent movies for some reason. Like dementia is the key to having a decent movie. So, dementia consuming a whole family is even more interesting.
It is.
Well,
go ahead.
I would just say, the difference in this one is the dementia is the monster. There is no other monster.
Okay.
So
cool.
They're taking dementia manifestation literally.
Oh, cool.
To see how horrifying dementia is, they've turned dementia into a horror story. Okay. So there is no other outside monster. There is no, usually when you see dementia, you think demons have got them, and because they have dementia, or
kind of like the haunting or whatever else.
Yeah. No. Dementia is the monster here. So
that's
just know
kind of an interesting take, though. I have a long history of dementia in my family, and so I'm obviously nervous about getting it myself, and so that could be interesting to watch for sure.
Yes, give it a shot.
Moving on, Christy and I have seen this one. I don't know if Yardley's had a chance. This is called Run. It has a 6.7 on IMDb, and it's about Chloe, a teenager who's confined to a wheelchair and is homeschooled by her mother. But her mother's basically, this is Diane Sherman. It's the story of Gypsy Rose-ish. Gypsy Rose Light, where the mother is keeping the teenage daughter, believing that she's sicker than she is so that she can take care of her and be dependent on her and that kind of thing. Have you had a chance to watch it, Yardley?
No, I have it in my, the save for later or whatever on Hulu. I was intending to. I think last week when I was going to attempt to watch it, I ended up checking out what was the movie that I just said that I watched? The soldier movie, Amulet.
Oh, okay.
I think I ended up watching that and then WandaVision, and then it kind of fell to the back. So I definitely have it queued up. I mean, if y'all co-sign, that is great though. I'll make sure I kind of speed up my watch.
Yeah.
I loved it. I thought it was really good. I didn't realize it was done for the Gypsy Rose because there's definitely twists in this movie that you're like, oh shit, I really loved it, and it's different. And it was kind of sit off to the side for me for a while because I looked at the reviews, and sometimes that hinders me from really good movies because people sometimes are just snobs. I thought the story was really good and fucking weird.
Nice. Yeah, it's worth a watch, guys. Check it out if you get a chance. Moving on to Spell. It is on several apps starting at $5.99. It has a 5.5 on IMDb. Spell is a man who crash lands in rural Appalachia and awakens in the attic of a traditional hoodoo practitioner. He desperately tries to break free from her dark magic and save his family from a sinister ritual before the rise of the blood moon. To me, looking at the trailer, it looks like Misery with a hoodoo twist, where she's got him tied down and she's torturing him, basically. What do you guys think of this one?
I think I'd give it a shot. I mean, I mean, I don't know. Hoodoo, Appalachia, I don't know. That's kind of right up my alley. So I mean, I'm just like, I'll check it out.
I definitely will. Yeah, I don't know if I'll pay $6 for it. I thought it looked good, like you said. Definitely got the Misery vibes. Interested because it says in the trailer that he's the only one that survives the crash. Now, I don't know if that's necessarily true. So that kind of
something about his family. So that's confusing.
Yeah, because it was like his family, and he's like, "Where's the rest of my family?" She's like, "Oh, you were the only one we saw, that was
it might have been a spoiler right there in the
I was like, that's interesting. And so then, she pulls out this voodoo doll and is like, basically, like, everything that happens to this doll is going to happen to you. And you're like, oh, shit. So she wasn't even in the mission. She didn't waste time like Misery, try to pretend like she was a good lady. It seems like starts off pretty quickly. I'm fucking crazy. And you just got really, you thought your plane crash was unlucky. So I will definitely check this one out.
Well, and also the fact that once you get into that, and oh my gosh, I'm not remembering the name of like all of the actors that I saw in the trailer, but there's some legit, actors in this movie. And I do like the concept of being forced to stay because someone has control of you because of something else. And it's pretty, like that whole thing with like, whatever I do to this, see that's one of those deals where if I'm in the room with you and if I have any ability to get to you, if you're like, if I break this, if I break this thing, I'm like, well, this is my one shot to choke the shit out of your old ass and get up out of here alive, because that is just nothing more scary than someone being in another room, like twisting a foot or stabbing you in the gut. That's the worst. So I'm like,
you're done.
Yeah, tear me in half right now, lady.
Exactly. Who wants to live with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
So moving on to The Curse of Audrey Earnshaw. This was the one that I got got kind of the witch type of vibe, and obviously those movies are doing well. So it's available on Amazon Prime right now. It has a 4.8. A devout community suffering from a plague is torn apart by a beautiful young woman with the forces of witchcraft, black magic, and possession. Thoughts?
I don't know why. It
looks
not
slow,
interest
doesn't
me
it?
at all. Yeah. I didn't look at the reviews. If you can't catch my attention on that shit, because I love all that. And if I still, when I was watching the trailer, was like, I don't know. This looks a little played out in my mind. I don't know. I'll probably give it a chance when everything else is I've watched everything else and I might try it. It did not hit me.
Yeah, same here. Didn't hit me. I'm more anxious about the next movie that you're going to talk
about. Oh, this one looks awesome.
Yeah, I'll pass.
Yes.
So they're talking about The Woman in the Window, and this one has been pushed back quite a bit. It does not have a release date that I could find as of now, which sucks. But it's called The Woman in the Window. An agoraphobic woman living alone in New York begins spying on her neighbors, very Rear Window-like, only to witness a disturbing act of violence. And so it actually stars Amy Adams, Wyatt Russell, Gary Oldman, Julianne Moore, among others. You will recognize pretty much every person in this trailer. Are we here for agoraphobia stories in the time of quarantine, though? What do you guys think?
I mean, hey, Chris, I can already hear the excitement.
The horror, absolutely.
Well, and it's Amy Adams too, y'all. Like, Amy Adams should have been Bev in the It movies. Amy Adams should have been Captain Marvel. Like, I'm just like, I like Amy Adams.
Give her all the roles.
I did not like Amy Adams as what was it, Lois Lane? What was it in the Superman movie?
Mm-hmm. Oh,
they couldn't find
but it wasn't her.
For that too, by the way.
Anyway. Yeah. So
I love Gary Oldman. I love Julianne Moore. Like you basically, if somebody was like, put all your favorite people in a movie, I'm like, they read my mind. I love all of them.
Julianne was kind of crush mine.
We're watching this one apparently.
We'll
keep an eye on the release date.
Just kidding.
What's that?
I said Yardley likes her because of Boogie Nights. Julianne Moore.
American Hustle too.
She's awesome.
Good stuff.
I love her.
Good stuff.
And Gary Oldman, like I fell in love with him after. If you guys haven't watched The Professional, the '90s movie, holy shit, that movie's fucking amazing, and he is absolutely incredible in it. And so if you haven't watched it, you have to watch it. It has Natalie Portman as a little girl, one of the first movies she ever did. And she's incredible in it. It's just an amazing movie. So ever since I've seen that movie, Gary Oldman is is the man. So
yeah, for
Makes
sure.
you sad at the end too, but
I like Wyatt Russell too, so I think it should be interesting.
Oh yeah.
So that's a yes for us. We'll keep an eye on the release date and let you know. Moving on to the next one, which originally was like a $20 rental when it first came out, and so I pushed it down on my list. It's now streaming for $3.99 and above. It's called You Should Have Left, and it's Kevin Bacon and Amanda Seyfried. It has a 5.4. A former banker, his actress wife, and their spirited daughter book a vacation at an isolated modern home in the Welsh countryside where nothing is as it seems. Christy, you said you saw this one. Thoughts?
Yeah, I decided when we were watching all the trailers, I was watching all of them last night, and I was like, okay, so if some of these are available, I'm going to pick one and watch it. This was the one that I decided to pick after looking at all the reviews. This one intrigued me the most. It definitely stood out as out of the ones that were available. It definitely was my pick to try. I liked it. I really liked it. Some people in there, you're going to read the reviews, and there were some people that didn't. Yardley or somebody was talking about, what was the one that you watched last night, Yardley, where or Amulet.
Yeah, Amulet.
Basically same premises, but totally different story of people having their comeuppance, and very good. So I thought it was different, weird, strange, totally different concept than what we've seen. And I love that. I need new shit coming across. So, and I love Kevin Bacon and Amanda Seyfried, however you say her name. So it was good. I recommend it.
Yardley?
You know what? I'm good.
Gonna pass on it?
Are you? You're not gonna watch it? Is that what you're saying? You don't like it?
I mean, not at the. Maybe I'll give it a chance if I don't have to pay for it.
Oh,
gotcha.
Okay.
And that'll be in another few months, right? That's the way these things work for sure.
But yep.
So when I was talking about that ratio of number of stars versus amount of dollars paid, Smiley Face Killers, it's inspired by true events. It's about a handsome young soccer player, Jake Graham, who believes he's going insane, unable to shake the feeling of being stalked by someone. My notes on it are, it's nice to see a dude get stalked by a serial killer for once. But it has 3.7 stars, and I've seen nothing but bad things. And like I said, it's still $4. Are you guys going to watch this one at any point?
This left absolutely no mark on me, and in fact, it went through my face so much that I didn't even look it up, knowing it's available to stream. Yeah. Like I just nope. No, it had zero interest in it.
Yeah, same here. Zero interest. But what lies below was kind of cringy. It made me curious, though.
Yeah, no. So let's pass on hot white dudes getting murdered and go to what lies below, which has a 4.6 and is available on streaming services starting at $3.99. A 16-year-old girl returns home from camp and learns that her mother has a new, super hot, by the way, boyfriend that she intends to marry. A man whose charm, intelligence, and beauty can make him look like he's not human at all. So what were you saying about this, Yardley?
No, I was just saying, just watching the trailer, it just seemed like it's going to have some cringy moments because it's looking like the the daughter was kind of seemingly like into him. And then as the trailer goes on, it kind of goes sideways.
Thirsty
and
for the hot boyfriend.
All of those types of things. So, the trailer, if you just read that description and I didn't see a trailer, I'd be like, hell no. But after seeing the trailer, even though I cringed at parts of it, I was like, you know what? That would be something that I would give a shot. So, why not? I'll probably try it out. I'll try it out by some means.
Okay. Christy?
So this was one of the ones that was on my list of I'll watch. I did a review, deep dive on this one. And from what I'm seeing, and this is just from what I read, the 4.6 reviews are that high because he's so hot. Basically, there was like this battle going on in IMDb reviews where people were like, this was the fucking dumbest movie I've ever seen. And then the ones giving it a high one were low. But that man, though, holy shit, he is hot as hell. And everybody's like, you cannot rate a movie on the hotness of a man. And they were like, watch me. Yeah. And so there was like this back and forth. I'm still going to watch it. But from what I saw on the descriptions of people, finally, the people that were liking it were like, finally, the lamprey is given the platform and the stage of horror. I'm like, the lamprey? Okay, what? And so it seems like when they say camp, they also mean campy. Like, it's super campy. But it also might be one of those ones where it's like so campy it's good. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Like, you kind of like Mom and Dad with Nicolas Cage, where Mom and Dad tries to kill you. So it seems like it could be super campy, but watchable. So I'm going to give it a shot, but not at $4.
Hey, as a thirsty white girl, if it's available for free, I'll check it out.
Well, also, doesn't the young girl in that trailer, she kind of reminds me of Kate Mara.
Mm-hmm.
Woman, she kind of plays Sue Storm in that, remember the Fantastic Four movie that had Michael B. Jordan in it? Her. Yeah. And then she's also acting in this other movie. It's like this creepy, cringy, where she plays like a teacher that's like dating a student or something. I saw something like that. She's in some show like that on Netflix. So yeah, but anyway.
You were right, Yardley. She is thirsting after her stepdad, and she's like spying on him, like apparently getting it on with her mom. And that's when she sees that he's not what he seems to be. And so I'm kind of like, ew. I mean, I guess it can happen because he's super hot. So I'd be like, okay, yeah. And Mira Sorvino, or whatever her name is in it. And I'm glad she's making a return to TV in movies, because she was one of the ones majorly blacklisted by Harvey Weinstein, because she wouldn't basically.
Mina Savari, yeah.
Mina Savari, yeah. She was blacklisted. So it's good to see that she's getting some work. So I'm going to go ahead and shout out to her for getting back into the movies. I'll give it a shot, because if I can watch that man for free doing whatever he's doing, that's fine. Holy crap, he is hot.
Yeah. So up until this point, you guys, as I mentioned, this is from the best upcoming horror movies trailers from FilmSpot trailer. This last one, however, is not from that ilk. I actually saw this independently and wanted to talk about it. It's called Willy's Wonderland. It drops February 12th on HBO Plus. So if you have HBO Plus, we have just 2 more weeks here to check it out. A quiet drifter is tricked into a janitorial job at the now condemned Willy's Wonderland. The mundane tasks suddenly become an all-out fight for survival against wave after wave of demonic animatronics. This is Nick Cage's film, and I'm super excited about him being in on his whole Nick Cage joke of himself. He does, by the way, just a side note, he does a history of swear words on Netflix that's streaming now. I highly, highly recommend it. He's very Nick Cage in it, and it's just super extra and fun, and this looks like it's going to be in the same vein. Last year, Banana Splits came out, which was demonic animatronics, and it was terrible. It wasn't even good for a hate watch. So this movie, to me, Willy's Wonderland, looks like something that Banana Splits should have been. But what are your guys' thoughts?
Yeah, I'll check it out. I mean, it's Nick Cage, and he's just, whenever I hear the name Nick Cage, it makes me chuckle, and for that alone, it's going to make me want to watch it. And the trailer seemed interesting, so I mean, it seems like it'll be fun. I mean, especially if you've got a little bit of buzz on you, so I totally feel like, and I'm ready to dive into this.
I am totally living for his movie picks lately. He has picked some really good stuff, and I'm not being facetious here. Like, Mom and Dad was good. The Color of Space was really good. Mandy was amazing. Like, he's switched over his genres, and he's going into more of the horror. And I hated Wicker Man. Hated it with a passion. I thought it was the worst movie. I was so disappointed. But that was way, way back, like when he was first in movie. These, I'm totally in for this. This trailer really made me laugh and chuckle, and it looks really good. It's something like you said. He's in on the joke. He's not taking himself too seriously anymore. He's no longer the I'm gonna steal the Declaration of Independence, type bullshit. And I love Con Air because again, he's a hero, but he's really not taking himself very seriously. This is perfect. This is the perfect stuff for him, and I'm digging it. He's back on my good list and not on my shit list anymore. So good for him.
I like watching animatronics get turn as evil as I've always been certain that they are, and then watching someone turn the tables on them. I grew up in the era of Chuck E. Cheese being really popular, and I was always certain, even as a pretty young kid, that the animatronics were either possessed or had serial killers that were actually, doing the movements inside of them. So one of our last activities post quarantine was a birthday party for my kid where she wanted to do Chuck E. Cheese. And I was like, I'll feel differently as an adult about these animatronics. And then the whole day I'm side eyeing this shit, the mouse, and that thing definitely has a serial killer inside and we're all going to die. So watching him, watching this thing stalk him in the trailer and then Nick Cage turn and just open a can of whoop ass on this thing, I think I'm going to really like this film. So
I'm right there with you. I've always hated animatronics, and when my daughter was a baby, Tickle Me Elmo and all that was really big, and I hated it. But you don't want to put your prejudice of feelings
on the kid.
You get it for your kid. She felt the same way. She beat the shit out of that Tickle Me Elmo when she was 2 years old. She was kicking at it and pulling at its hair and shaking it. She was like, "Get this thing away from me." I was like, "Oh, good, atta girl." I'm right there with you. So we no longer had to deal with animatronics because she didn't like them either.
Nice. So with that, we've had a nice long show, and I have to pee more than words can say. But can we talk about anything else outside of this list that we've been watching? Christy, it looks like you've got a few things.
I'll be quick. I feel your pain on that. Signal. The Signal is a movie. It has 6.1 on Netflix. On a road trip, Nick and two friends are drawn to an isolated area by a computer genius. When everything suddenly goes dark, Nick regains consciousness only to find himself in a waking nightmare. It's got Lawrence Fishburne, and the main guy is Brenton Thwaites. He looks exactly like a young Ethan Hawke, so that was interesting. I liked this movie. I thought it was really different. You have no idea what the fuck is going on. So it all kind of gets revealed at the end, but apparently people were still so intrigued by it. They're doing these long explanations of what the ending is. So for me, it's a success when that happens. I enjoyed it. It was weird, different, and I liked it. So I definitely recommend it. And it's free on Netflix. I mean,
nice.
What you going to do? Yeah. Bright, 6.3 on Netflix. I did this one for you guys, for you two, because it has a huge comic book vibe to it.
Yes.
I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah,
a detective must work with an orc to find a powerful wand before evil creatures do. It's got Will Smith. It's got trolls and fairies and just normal day humans all living in a universe together. It wasn't my cup of tea, but it's got huge reviews and people really dig it. And in fact, everybody on on IMDb was losing their minds about it and loved it. So I think you guys should do your due diligence if you haven't watched it and check it out, because it might really be up your alley. It just was not for me. A little too cheesy for me. And I love dwarves and trolls and fairies. It was just, I don't know. It was very, I don't know how to explain it. It just wasn't my thing.
I mean, I saw it. I thought it was. I thought it was okay. Not as good as I thought that it could potentially be, especially considering that you got Will Smith in the movie. But I hear that it's going to be maybe a continuation of this. But my main reason behind watching it is, like I said, my other crush, Noomi Rapace, is in it. So I was I'm going to check this on out, and she wasn't in it enough for me to have watched the whole thing. So.
Yeah, what happened to her? She was amazing in what do you call it? The movie.
Yeah, she's been in a lot. Like What Happened to Saturday or something like that. If you watch that, and that's on one of these streaming services.
That was good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
The dragon tattoo. Yeah.
And she does a lot of independent stuff. I've seen she's in Stockholm, which came out I think last year. It's pretty dope. So I'm gonna check her out.
She came on my radar from Prometheus, and I loved her. And then she just dropped off my radar because I did watch What Happened to Saturday. That was really good. I honestly didn't even realize she was in it. But yeah, it wasn't my thing. So, but people loved it. So you guys give it a shot. It might be your thing. We already talked about Doom. It had a 5.2. I gave it a shot. Had The Rock, had Rosamund Pike. Yeah, no. The newest one got a 3.6. They had a new one come out last year, or 2019, I guess. Maybe it was 2020. Anyway, 3.6. If this one got a 5.2, and I really can't stomach the 3.6 one, so I'm not even going to go down that road. And that's it. That's all I got.
Nice. I checked out on HBO The Little Things. It stars, holy crap, I just Denzel Washington and, I just blanked out. The guy who plays Queen in the Queen movie. Rami Malek. Yeah. I wanted this to be the next True Detective. It has great actors. Jared Leto is the bad guy. I wanted it to be like True Detective, Mystic River, Seven, kind of something like that. It is long. It's got a twisty mystery, and it just didn't pay off. I mean, if you have HBO Plus, it's worth the watch. It's well acted with those players involved, but and I don't even mind the ending is not a happy conclusion by any means, and I'm okay with that. It's just I just didn't feel like for the length it was that it was worth the payoff, unfortunately, but it's worth the watch. I'm glad I didn't see it in the theater or pay for it. And that's pretty much, with the exception of what Yardley's going to mention, WandaVision is the only thing that I have watched, but I'm living for WandaVision. My kids are obsessed. Yardley, what are your thoughts on WandaVision?
Yeah, it's a solid show. I mean, I've definitely enjoyed probably the last two episodes. Wait, the last episodes when they got to the 70s, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's more, the Brady Bunch vibe and all of that. But also, it's not even necessarily the nostalgia from what they're pulling from. For me, it's just more of trying to figure out, that MCU, why are we here, that multiverse thing.
Yeah.
And then we find out what happened to, Monica Rambeau and all of this stuff. So, I mean, it's way more solid. The first two episodes didn't do it for me, but I knew I had to hold my nose just to get where we're at right now. But yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying the series, and I like Elizabeth Olsen. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
especially from that show, and I don't know if I ever mentioned it to y'all, but it was a Facebook Watch show, and it got canceled. When the pandemic started, and a lot of other shows, but it was called Sorry for Your Loss, and it has Elizabeth Olsen in it, and this other brother, Mamadou or something like that. But anyway, it was a good thing. So I got more of a sense of what Elizabeth Olsen is as an actress from that Facebook Watch series that she was on. That went 2 seasons, and so now I've become quite a fan of her. So watching the MCU and watching this, I'm like, I'm saying she's cool. So yeah, give it a try, y'all. I mean, would you say, Moni, would you recommend this? If nobody ever saw anything from Marvel, you can't even recommend this to them, can you?
Probably not, especially the latest episode. I don't know if you saw this past Friday's episode where Elizabeth Olsen is not in it much, and it's actually pulling back the curtain on a lot of the tie-ins to the MCU and that kind of thing. And I don't know that would really land with people who haven't watched it. So the Marvel movies. Yeah.
So I shouldn't watch this, is what you're saying, because I can hear nonstop. Of course, I don't have Disney Plus. This is on Disney Plus, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of mystery to unravel in it, but again, I don't know how much of the mystery you would care about if you didn't have questions lingering from other Marvel films, kind of thing.
Okay.
But Christy's seen all. I mean, I think you've seen all of the big Marvel films, like the Endgame and all of those. So I mean, maybe if you've seen those, you could watch it because I think you could give it a try if you can.
And I think they're really poising this show, and I'm not sure, and I don't want to get into it too much, but that to really deal with a lot of grief and make someone that we love possibly be quite villainous. So it's very cute and fun to start with, but it's really growing that creepy and sad element. That
it is.
That should be interesting.
And they're also teeing off, what's her name? Rambeau.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're teeing because she's going to be a thing going forward too. So
Which is great. I freaking love her. So.
Yeah, she did. I guess this episode probably was my favorite of all the ones that came out, and it seems like they're turning it up a notch for the penultimate episode, because I think this is only like a 6-episode series.
Yeah,
so, yeah, that's it. And then
speaking of, somebody was talking about WandaVision on TikTok, and they were talking about the episode where it's all black and white, but everything in red
has the deeper
like shows up.
Ends up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so now there's this theory, because there's also a part on one of the main movies where that happens, where it's black and white and everything was in red. That the theory is that somebody's going to get a hold of the stones and undo Iron Man's death. And that's the big thing. Everyone's losing their mind, and everybody thinks that's what's going to happen. And that was the hint of that theory. So anyway,
there's a lot of theories slinging around out there with this one, but yeah.
Right. Anyway, I just thought I'd throw that out there because it's apparently picking up quite a bit of speed on TikTok anyway. I don't know how I ended up in that whole universe on TikTok, because I don't know what the fuck's going on there. But y'all have seen WandaVision, so I thought maybe that would click for you guys.
Yeah. Interesting. So at the risk of peeing my pants almost 2 hours into this show, too many mimosas as I've sat here. Christy, tell us your socials and tell us a little bit about the next show.
Yes. So I thought, hey, I was doing Superhumans. We're having fun. I'm on a pivot and go completely horrifying. Bioterrorism attacks throughout history. I originally was going to do something else, but I watched a Forensic Files, an older episode of Forensic Files about a bioterrorism attack in, I believe it was Oregon, at a hippie commune, attacked this town to keep them from voting so that their candidate would win. And it just absolutely intrigued me that that they got as far as they did. And there is a lot of instances about bioterrorism going back to like the 1500s. So I want to talk about this and how it is a very scary possibility for anybody any day. I mean, this is an invisible enemy that people can use instead of a bomb. So something to be interesting we thought we'd talk about.
Nice.
I'm excited to send you guys a couple of things to watch before we do the show. So with that, I would like to say that last time I posted our show, we are now into season 4 of our little podcast, and that was just kind of crazy that we've been doing it this long. And I'd like to thank everybody for continuing to stick with us. We apparently are really big in Canada, Australia, and the UK, as well as the United States. So, hey, you guys, thanks for listening. Sorry, Americans are idiots. We're hanging in there, and no, we're not okay, because they're always asking, are Americans okay? No, we're not fucking okay.
Nope.
But we're getting through it, just like you guys are. And thanks for listening. And I would like to ask you guys to leave reviews if you want to be nice, if you want to be ugly. I guess that's your journey too. But give us some rating and some reviews. Again, that's how we keep this little show churning. And you can find me Creepin' It Christy on Instagram, Creepin_it on Twitter.
All right. And Mr. Yardley, where do we find you?
You can follow me on Twitter at militant_marker.
Yes, I would like to co-sign on the thanking of the listeners. And again, we wish our dear Stephanie to get well, and anybody else who's going through some shit. Hopefully this took you away from it for a minute and you have some good recommendations of things you can watch now and in the near future. I am Moni Bear across the board, and I am also can be found at creatorsassemble.org, where you can check out, speaking of comic books today, where you can check out what we're doing with comic books and education. But with that, I'd like to wish you all a safe and happy week, or whenever you're listening to this, and thank you for being a listener, and we'll talk to you soon.
Ground control to Major Tom. Ground control to Major Tom. Take your protein pill.